Was that a cool intro?
Hey,
Cool.
Susan, don't forget to tell them about your promo.
I'm not, I was gonna go into it, but I don't want to give Coach too much blackmail. I can't wait to see you all back here tomorrow. We're gonna talk more about the impossible, maybe possible, turn. See y'all. Oops, I forgot the most important part, Coach. Can you walk this in here? And most importantly, remember, the good pilot is always learning. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see ya. All right, let me cut these cameras and get them going again for you, Coach. Okay, Coach, let's talk. How majestic was that turn around to end right into the sun, right as I was saying goodbye? I mean, move over, Steven Spielberg. Jeez Louise. Where's Marco Island? Oh, it's over there. All right, I'll come back in a second. Bye. So I've been bouncing a lot lately. Just bouncy guy.
Miami Center, 444
Day
with
18,
CFI request.
coach, briefing and approach.
Aircraft looking for 554,
Coach,
standby.
briefing and approach. Boom, 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 boom. That's
Jet
your song.
364, cross moment, maintain 10,000.
How coach breaches and approach. Briefs and approach.
Hey, I understand
Coach,
that was
approaches with coach.
10,000.
New series, right down. Coach it, approaches with coach. Got a jingle to it. I won't even take a commission.
Northwood 891, cross moment, maintain 10,000.
Cross Momo. I got to turn right into the sun. And can you see my fuel flow, coach? I am burning 0.9, 0.3, 0.0 gallons per hour is my burning right now. Is my engine on? Yeah, my engine's on. Phew. That was scary. But I handled it well, right? Did I handle it well, coach? Thank you. I talked to you, coach, you know? No one else will, but I will. I'm here for you, man. All right, coming over to the beach. He wants me to put it right down. I'll give you an intro here. Coach, I don't know what day this is, so you're gonna have to give me a cool thing. I don't remember what day, but we'll make it work. MzeroA, are you a crabber or a side slipper? There's only one right answer. That'll be boom, to the point.
Boom to the point is right, I guess. What is happening, MzeroA Online Ground School? Jason Schappert here. Welcome to day 31, live of the 31-day Safer Pilot Challenge. You did it. Golf clap. We are here at the finish line.
Thanks for everybody for staying up late here. I know it is late. I know there was some confusion in one video I mentioned, we'll do it in the morning. And then my schedule got a little bit crazy and everything else. We had to do it this late at night. It's past my bedtime too. I know it, but I saw some of you watching from Europe. I saw Netherlands. I saw the UK. I saw many others. Where are you checking in from is where I'm curious. So let me know where you're watching this from. We're streaming this simultaneously to both our Facebook groups, our Facebook page, and to YouTube as well. There's approaching behind, combine all that, almost 500 people on here watching this live. So thank you so much for doing that. Let's give some shout outs over in the comments. Magda's got them pulled up over there. All coming in. Marcus Burt, good to see you. I saw Ohio go flying by. I don't know a name. Jared Newman, Russ Everson, someone in Kissimmee. The names go flying by. Steve Steiner, good to see you. Joseph Mullins, Andrew, Trent, Daryl Quinn in Magnolia, Texas. There's Hunter, good to see you. Josh, I feel like we just spoke. Did we not just speak a webinar ago? Steve Spores, Christian Ravens, good to see you. Ron G outside Boston. Abe King. Hey, here's a really big question. Type in me in the chat if this applies to you. Who here is 31 for 31? You have watched, you have done all your homework. You are 31 for 31. Congratulations. Maggie, you want to come over here and congratulate everybody real quick and say hi to everybody real quick? Who is 31 for 31? Type in me in the chat as well. Here's my beautiful wife, Magda.
Hi, everybody.
Look at all these 31s. There's Bill Campbell.
Wow.
Bill Campbell, good to see you. Dominic, you want to give a few shout outs, Magda? Let's see who's there.
Wow, the comments go by so fast.
They do.
Brian, Jonathan,
John Johnson,
John,
yeah.
Lane, Steve, Nick, Craig, Cody.
Look at all these. Awesome, awesome.
I saw Hunter, Holly earlier.
Yeah, that's awesome. When you see us looking this way, we're looking at the chat, by the way. So
thank you, everybody. Thank
awesome. Congratulations to you all. Just going above and beyond this 31-day Safer Pilot Challenge. Just to take it a step further here, the stats aren't fully in because, well, we're still creating the stats now. But as of yesterday, across all our channels on the 31-day Safer Pilot Challenge videos, we're at 1.4 million views. To give you some perspective, I wrote it in my notes here. That's 45,000 views a day, and that is like filling Madison Square Garden twice a day. Like people come in, and then people end up leaving, and then more people come in. That's what it ultimately amounts to with that. So congratulations to everybody with that. Just what an amazing, amazing opportunity it is to get to serve you all in this MzeroA nation, this MzeroA community. I have another question for you though before we get into our content here today. The question is this. It's a simple one. Your favorite video from this year's Safer Pilot Challenge. I mean, maybe it's tonight. I don't know. We'll find out. Your favorite video thus far in the 31-day Safer Pilot Challenge. Let me give you a little recap. We started everything off with the engine failures on takeoff, runway remaining, then we talked about, hopefully debunked, this idea of an impossible turn. Then we had some other videos on radio communication, phraseology. We talked about our instrument panel scans and partial panel. Who learned something in that video about that pesky little red lever? That red lever is a tricky one. What about, we just recently posted the crosswinds. We learned, are you a side slipper or are you a crabber? Let's put some of these. Holly said bouncing 2-3 Mike Zulu. That was the most painful one. That was the most painful one. Hunter and Bill Campbell said when your children stole the show. So you saw the video. It's also our most popular reel on Instagram right now, 200,000 views on our Instagram of Gavin. Both Ella and Gavin. I mean, Ella, talk about, yeah, when there's fuel coming out of the wing like last time. Like that happens all the time. And then Gavin, so if you missed it, I asked Gavin the definition of an emergency. And he said, if there's blood or fire. And yes, if there's blood or fire, that is very much an emergency. And if you watch to the end of that video, you see Gavin didn't do a very good job of the sterile cockpit. He forgot to read one page in his book, and he couldn't wait to tell me, literally as I'm transitioning, about to touch down. That was certainly one of my favorites as well with that. And I'll tell you, Coach really did an amazing job. All those, Coach Ray, of course, edits all the social media videos for us with that. Did a phenomenal job. We actually lost a majority of the audio on that clip. I think I shared that in that video, but just amazing. 2023 really kicking it off with a bang, really starting so strong. And we talk about this. We talk about those of you that are 31 for 31. We talk about the 1.4 million views. We talk about your favorite, videos. Our mission in every video, every live stream, do you know what it is? Hunter and Holly and Dave G and Coach Ray could tell you, it's to save just one life. The purpose of this live stream tonight is to save just one life. And all these things are amazing, and the stats and the metrics are amazing, but did you know that I almost quit? I literally, and I don't mean the Safer Pilot Challenge. Now, there were some hard days of the Safer Pilot Challenge. The MzeroA team will attest to that. But I almost gave up flying on multiple occasions. I almost gave up the idea of doing MzeroA. And I don't know who I'm speaking to tonight. Maybe you'd be so humble to give me a hand-raised emoji or type in me in the chat here. But have you ever thought about quitting your flying dreams, your flying goals? Have you ever wondered, is this aviation thing for me? My finances, it's just so expensive. It's the time, it's the commitment. My spouse doesn't really like flying anyways. Who's ever been there? Who am I talking to tonight? So I know. I'll never forget, I share this in Aviation Mastery, the book. You all know from my, from very, very young, my very first, attempt at a solo. And I was flying an old, I think it was a 1967 Cherokee 140. This is back in the olden days, okay? This is back in the olden days now. Things were in black and white, everything else. It's the olden days, Brian Henry. Do you remember the olden days? Look, Magda, of course, goes and finds the olden days picture. Maybe not black and white, but sepia tone, okay? It was, look at the comb-over haircut. You can tell this is an old photo. Thanks for sharing this, Magda. I really appreciate you sharing my dirty laundry or my old pictures. I'm wearing plaid shorts. Plaid, do you remember the phase of everyone had the plaid shorts? I always wanted to be a cool kid. That was that phase. Anyways, my dad's watching too. He says, I have that pic. He has the pic. They must have color corrected because I'm pretty sure it was in black and white. But I'll never forget, probably the best instructor I ever had, her name was Mary. And coming in thinking I was about to solo, and long story short, I missed the runway by about 100 yards, landed in the grass, bounced it in. How that happened is I went to do a go-around in a Cherokee 140. I took out all the flaps at once, and we slammed into the ground when I was supposed to be doing a go-around. I mean, we hit so hard our headsets almost popped off our head. It was the most awkward, quiet taxi. Well, off the grass was a little loud, onto the runway, onto the taxiway, and taxied back. I'll never forget. And this came from a place of love. Mary was one of the best instructors I ever had. She said to me, maybe you're not meant to be a pilot, Jason. And with my dad watching now, and probably my mother too as a witness, will tell you, I just came home. I was a 16-year-old kid, 15-year-old kid, and just cried. Maybe I'm not meant to be a pilot. And there's other stories on top of that too. I remember, you all have heard the story of when I lost cylinder number 3 in 512 Romeo on takeoff, my beloved Cessna 150. I was on takeoff, lost cylinder number 3. I'll summarize the story because I've shared these at length before. Was able to nurse it around the pattern. But what you don't know, and I've shared this once before, I believe, what I was going to do is I was actually so broke, literally financially broke, emotionally broke. I was being kicked out of my hangar. At the time, it was the Denellen Airport because I was behind on my payments. And a buddy of mine, who I'm still friends with today, his name was Brian, said, hey, Jason, my hangar's empty. Fly it over to Ocala. You can keep it in my hangar. Your airplane can't sit outside. It's too pretty of an airplane to sit outside. And so I was literally moving from hangar to hangar because I'm being kicked out of one and going to stay rent-free in another one. On top of this, I'm behind on car payments to the point, anyone ever been tow truck poor before? Where I had to sneak around the tow truck man to get to the hangar, to drive out to the airport to do that. And it was on that flight where I lost cylinder number 3 on takeoff. And I remember coming back, and after I stopped shaking, and after everyone left, I remember just crying, thinking, I can't even afford my $180 a month hangar, rent. That's what hangars used to be back in the day. Now that gets you 7 days in a hangar maybe. I can't even afford that, let alone a whole cylinder and an exhaust manifold and whatever else is wrong with this thing. I ended up selling the airplane. I almost quit. And I was just starting this little thing called MzeroA about that point. In every adversity, there's a seed of a greater advantage. You have to look for that. But you'd say, selling 512 Romeo, here you are you're a flight instructor, my only means of making money, and I sold the only tool that I had. On top of that, sometimes adversity strikes, and many of you know this, but I went through a painful divorce. And that divorce is not something I wish upon anyone. It's just a terrible thing to go through. And you just think why am I flying? Why am I pursuing this? Whatever it is. And I don't know who this is for, who I'm speaking to tonight, but I want to share with you that in every adversity, there's a seed of a greater advantage. And if you think you're going through it, and you may be going through it, but there is a light at the end of that tunnel. And I know it could be something small. That written test is a pain in the butt. The check ride feels like it'll never come. Your spouse doesn't want to fly with you. The airlines aren't hiring you like they thought they would. Whatever it may be, there are opportunities out there for you. And you are going to face difficulties, and you are going to face challenges. But my friends, you just completed, or are about to complete, the 31-day Safer Pilot Challenge. And my goal, why am I telling you all this? I share all this with you because my goal is not only to save one life, it's to make 2023 your best flying year yet. And let me tell you something else, your safest flying year yet. Because I can help you with your crosswind landings and overcome a fear of stalls and help you through radio communications. I can work. You say, I want to be the next Chuck Yeager. You want to be the next Rickenbacker. You want to be the next Earhart. Whatever it is, we can work towards that goal. But that goal is all in vain if I can't help you make good decisions. That goal is all in vain if you're not applying that knowledge. You see, knowledge isn't power. You have 31 days of knowledge. You've been planting little seeds all along the way. But let me tell you something. Just like I said, in every adversity, there's a seed of a greater advantage. A seed is just that. It is a seed. A seed, well, you got to put it in good soil. You've got to get it light. You have to give it water. You have to fertilize. You have to care for it. And even when it's just a little shoot, you got to bring it in when it gets cold. You got to take care of this. It's still just a seed. I didn't say a tree. I said a seed. You've planted 31 seeds along this journey. How are you going to work to maximize them? So I want to give each person, no matter where you're at watching this, from someone just getting started to someone who wants to make a career out of aviation, or the real audacious person who wants to leave a good career to pursue a career in aviation. Do I have any audacious people out there as well? I'm speaking to all of you. And let's start from the very beginning. Let's start with that person who is just getting started in their aviation. Type in me in the chat. Who is just getting started in their journey? You have 10 hours or less. You have 0 hours. Aviation just sounds like a cool goal right now. Type in me in the chat so I know who I'm speaking to with this. This has been a lifelong dream of yours. You've been kind of lurking in the background, watching the Safer Pilot Challenge. You've been checking all of this out. You've been digesting. Who is trying to just get started, but this is a passion of yours? I see you there, Nick. I see you there, Evan. James Sharp, I see you. David Cardozo, I see you. Tale of Two Wheels on YouTube, I see you. I love the comment from Black Ops. I couldn't see the numbers at the end. It said left my career for a career in aviation. Love that. Michael, I see you as well. Awesome, awesome. Andrew Jeffries, listen, I'm going to give some, again, I'm going to give advice all across the gamut here, but I'm speaking to Tom Riviera. I'm speaking to Enrique. I'm speaking to Mike, right? That's who I'm speaking to right now, just getting started. Let me tell you something. And those of you who've been there, done that, and have walked in these shoes, affirm them, let them know this is sound advice here. it is so important when you get out to that flight school, the flight instructor that you choose could be the great make or break for the success and certainly the saving money factor of your flight training. A bad flight instructor, and unfortunately those exist, a bad flight instructor, and not a bad person, maybe just a bad teacher. Not everyone is meant to teach. They could be a great pilot, they could be a great human, they may just not be the best teacher. So those are two different things here. But a bad flight instructor can make for some challenging flight training. A great flight instructor can make all the difference in your flight training. You know, if you guys watch this, if you don't have a copy of the Private Pilot Blueprint, I would so encourage you to grab a copy. Who has read the Private Pilot Blueprint? We're now in our 3rd edition of it here. If you get a copy, make sure it's got the new, it's kind of like Blueprint to 23 Mike Zulu over here. 50,000 some odd copies in print of this. The ultimate guide to saving time and money in your flight training. Finding that great flight instructor. And how do I find a great flight instructor? You've got to interview. You can't just, I got so lucky. I went with my mom and dad to the flight school. We walked in. They said, hey, nice to meet you. How can we help you? My son wants to learn to fly. Oh, this is Mary. She's available right now. Let's go fly. And I got so lucky that I got Mary. Awesome flight instructor. I've had great flight instructors. I've had good flight instructors. I've had some bad flight instructors. I learned different things from all of them. You learn a lot from the bad flight instructors, but it's an expensive lesson early on. You can afford to have a bad flight instructor later on in your training when you know better. But when you have no experience, you don't know any better. So inside the blueprint, and again, you go to privatepilotblueprint.com. Magda, do you have a lower third for that one? You can go to privatepilotblueprint.com to actually, there you go, to actually grab a copy of that. Interview questions to ask your instructors, potential instructors, how to interview flight schools, how to save time and money in your flight training. Just a great way. I can't see it just says Facebook user, but it says, I interviewed 4 CFIs before I started my IFR training almost 2 years ago. Amazing. Coach Ray said 4 CFIs before starting his IFR 4 years. I love it. Absolutely love it. So again, you can get that privatepilotblueprint.com, or you can just search on Amazon for it as well if you would rather. So for those of you just getting started, my advice to you, you have to find that great flight instructor. I didn't say flight school yet, flight instructor. And again, we talk all about that and so much more inside the Private Pilot Blueprint to serve you with that. Let's talk to another crowd here. Type in me in the chat if this applies to you. You've got a written test coming up. Maybe said another way, if I could be honest, you've got a written test that you've been putting off a little bit. It's that monkey on your back. You know you should have got it done a while ago, but man, the flying stuff is so much fun, and I work all day, and I get home, and I feel like I don't have time to study, and gosh, it's just hard to study for the written test. There's so many questions. Commercial has 100 questions, for goodness sake. 60 questions for private pilot seemed like enough. Who has a written test? Brad says tomorrow at 9 a.m. Well, Brad, this is dedicated to you as a good little recap. But where are those that maybe are just putting off the written or aren't confident or comfortable taking that written test just yet? There's a bunch of you. I love what Monica said, scared to take my instrument written test. We're going to debunk all of that here tonight for you as well, Monica. Well, I love to teach through examples. One thing MzeroA, so many people think we're just YouTube videos. We're a full online ground school, and inside that online ground school, it's not just amazing written test prep. It's not just great check ride prep. It is the real world prep. When people hit the panic button, you're hitting the easy button, right? In everything, from test prep to emergencies to everything. So I want to share with you some slides. This is inside. This first one is from our Private Pilot Written Test Prep Boot Camp. We have a full boot camp geared just towards the written test, in addition to all the ground school. So let's do this one here real quick. I flagged this one before we show it, Magda. I flagged this one as a trick question alert. When I flag things as a trick question, it's a polite way of saying, hey, FAA, I love you, but you could have worded this question a little bit nicer. That's what I mean by that. All right, slow down and read it. Give me an A, B, or C in the chat. In the northern hemisphere, an airplane is accelerated or decelerated. The magnetic compass will normally indicate A, B, or C. in the northern hemisphere. You accelerate or you decelerate your airplane. The magnetic compass will normally, give me it in the chat, A, B, or C. Thanks for taking the chat down, Magda, so not too many people can cheat, right? I'm gonna grab a sip of tea while you guys type in some answers here. A, B, or C. Slow down and read it. Good job, Ray Capital. Good job, Evan. No need for a question mark. David Cardozo, good job. Dave G, I would expect nothing but the greatest from you. Jack Jones, great. David, I think it was Springer went by. Aviator Chris 01. Hunter, yes. Sarah Haskett. Manny, Yalda, yes. Matthew, Plant, Mark, Mr. Vargas, good to see. Jonathan Vargas has an MzeroA hat on his profile picture, everybody. I just saw it go flying by. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? It is, he does, right there, right there. Yep, Jonathan Vargas. Look at that. Look at that, with an MzeroA hat. It's hard to see in the it's an MzeroA hat, I promise you. The answer, y'all are correct. The answer is B. Why on earth is it B? Well, listen, some of you are going, wait a second, Jason. I saw in an online ground school video once where you told me about this thing called ANDs, right? We have UNOs, undershoot north, overshoot south, related to our compass turns. And then we have our acceleration error in the northern hemisphere, which is the acronym ANDS, A-N-D-S. Accelerate north, decelerate south. You told me that, Jason. I remember seeing it in a video. Yes, that's true. However, read the question again with me real quick. If we look at the question, it just says we're in the northern hemisphere. You accelerate or decelerate an airplane. The magnetic compass will normally, it does not tell us which heading we are on. So C cannot be the correct answer because we don't know what heading we are actually on. A turn momentarily, I mean, it could be the answer if we knew what heading we were on. B is your best answer because it's correctly when on a north or south heading. You see, ANDS, accelerate north, decelerate south, is basically only when you're on an east or west heading. You accelerate, the compass will momentarily swing north. You decelerate, momentarily swing south. That's on an east or west heading. Do you follow me with that? So B is our correct answer there. Let's do another one here. Now, ground school members, where are my ground school members at? Type in me. If you were on today's webinar, and each week I do a webinar just like this with our online ground school members where I quiz them. Today was a mock check ride that we just did. So if you're a ground school member, I love you, but you're not allowed to answer this one because I just took this one from your presentation I gave you all this afternoon. So ground school members, hey Darren Anderson, hey Anna, hey Glenn, good to see you. There's Bradley, hey Bradley, thank you for your tea recommendation, by the way. There's Robin. All right, so you can't answer this one if you're on the webinar here today. You ready? Under which condition must the pilot in command of a civil aircraft have at least an instrument rating? Let me tell you something. It's a trick question. Read it, slow down, read it. It's a trick question. Bradley, yes, you can answer this one since you skipped the member-only webinar today, and I forgive you as well. Under which condition, just type in A, B, or C in the chat. Under which condition must the pilot in command of a civil aircraft have at least an instrument rating? All right. Username Hidden Windshield, yes. Bradley, you were busy buying a Mooney. Like the company or just teasing. Good job, Brad. Beechcraft Sierra, yes. Chris Ritchie, good to see you, man. Matthew H, yes. Slow down and read it. Okay, if you chose, how do I say this politely? If I'm picking on you, it's because I love you. It's not because I'm just picking on you to pick on you, okay? If you chose C, I would suggest to you there is a better answer. Read it one more time. So the question is asking, when must the PIC, pilot in command, have at least an instrument rating? There's one that should just jump out at you like it did to Leo there, and like it did to Mark and Steve Spores. Our answer, here you go. Our answer is B. Why on earth is our answer B and our answer not C? Well, look at B. For flight in VFR conditions. Okay, time out. How many of you would step into my honesty corner real quick? Let's put the chat back up, Magda. I want to see this. How many of you, type in me if this is you, you saw B, you saw it said VFR conditions, stopped reading, and continued on to the next one to see what else was available? Anybody maybe do that? You see the B says, for flight in VFR conditions, while on an IFR flight plan. While on an IFR flight plan. I love what Teresa said. This shouldn't be a reading comprehension test. Well, you're welcome to tell the FAA that. FAA, we love you. Listen, what it really is, it's a slow down and read it. Because it's so easy to jump to conclusions. And while it may sometimes feel like a reading comprehension test, it's also a make sure Jason doesn't jump to conclusions test, because jumping to conclusions in an airplane gets you hurt. And jumping to conclusions on your written test gets you an incorrect answer. A little less severe than the latter, but you understand what I'm saying there. You've got to slow down and really read these questions. So Magda, if we could show them, I'm sorry to make you take the chat down again. If we could show it to them again here. Under which condition must the pilot in command of a civil aircraft have at least an instrument rating? The answer is B. For flight, even if you're in VFR conditions, if you're on an IFR flight plan. If you're on an IFR flight, it doesn't matter. If it's clear in 10, unlimited visibility, it doesn't matter. If you're on an IFR flight plan, well, you need to be instrument rated. You can't go file an IFR flight plan without an instrument rating legally, right? That's not the right way to do it. You see, I do have one more for you, an instrument question. But you see, this is what we do inside the online ground school. And our members will tell you, it is not only pointing out the trick questions, that's the easy part, it is teaching the why behind it. Because people make a big mistake with the written test. They choose to look at the written test, and they choose to see it as a rote memorization marathon. And let me tell you, that is not the right way to go about it. Let me prove it to you quickly here. Who's got an instrument written test coming up? Here you go. We're looking at an HSI, by the way. What is the lateral displacement of the aircraft in nautical miles from the radial selected on the number 1 nav? How many of you have no clue what this means? Could you give me like the mind blown emoji or something? How many of you see this question and it makes your brain hurt a little bit? Well, if you're a private pilot, you're allowed to have your mind blown a little bit by this question. If you are an instrument pilot, you are expected to know this sort of stuff. In fact, this is straight from our Instrument Pilot Online Ground School written test database. Copy-pasted, straight from it, okay? What is the lateral displacement of the aircraft in nautical miles from the radial selected on the number 1 nav? And by the way, that's all the data you get. I need a number, by the way. I'm not going to give you ABC. Normally you get ABC. Look at all the mind-blown emojis coming in on YouTube and Facebook. This is all the data you get. They do give you ABC. I couldn't fit ABC on the slide. Sorry. If it helps you, they give you the frequency of 115.0. It does help that you're 60 miles out. They give you your knots and they give you your minutes to the station. Okay? The question here is, the answer is not, Eric Frank, James GoPro Aviation, Ernie Kelly, golf claps. Lauren, you are so close. Add 1 to it. Alexander Johnson, Mary Martin, I wouldn't expect anything less. Steve Compton, some smart pilots here. So I am very impressed. Roger, good job. Captain Manalo, good job. I see the ground school members getting it all right. I like that a lot. You all are smarter than the average bear, Daryl Quinn. Mark, good job. Okay. So the question reads, what is the lateral displacement? Plain English, how far off course am I? Related to this, right? How far, what is the lateral displacement of the aircraft in nautical miles from this radial? How far am I in nautical miles from this radial? That's what they're asking, okay? Here's how you calculate it. It is 200 feet per nautical mile per dot. Okay, let me break it into plain English for you. First off, who is saying, Jason, what dots are you talking about? I'm talking about these guys, these dots right here. So do you see, it's kind of hard to tell. We're 1, 2, we are 2.5 dots off. Our course here is 2.5 dots away. So we are 2.5 dots off from our airplane, from our radial. So if it is 200 feet per nautical mile per dot, we're 2.5 dots off. Okay, I could have done a better fraction there, sorry. We take our 200, we multiply it by how many dots we're off, 2.5, we get 500 feet. Well, I then need to bring this into something that makes sense to me here. I am 60 nautical miles away. I told you that number would come in handy here from the actual station. I've got to get that out there. So I take my 500, I multiply it by the nautical miles I am away from the station, I get 30,000 feet. Remember, we're working with nautical miles here, so roughly 6,000. What's a nautical mile actually, Maggie? Like 6,004 feet or something weird like that? 6,000 is close enough. 30,000 divided by 6,000 gives you 5 nautical miles. Let me put it to you in even plainer English. I'm gonna give you Jason's formula here. Grab a screenshot of this. There are 4 questions like this on the instrument written test. So take a screenshot of this real quick and then Magda will bring the chat back up here. Ask yourself, question number 1, ask yourself this question. How many dots off course am I? 2.5. You then take your, remember it's 200 feet per nautical mile per dot. So 200 times dots off course equals J. I added the J in there. I never understood algebra because they always wanted to use A and B and X and Y. And if they just put a J in there, I probably would have understood it better, but they chose not to. So 200, back to our formula, step 2, times dots off course equals J. J times your distance from the station. J is your variable, by the way. J's for Jason, just in case anybody was wondering what J means. Magda's looking at me like, that was a really bad joke, Jason. Just keep going. J times your distance from the station equals feet off course. All right, feet off course divided by 6,000 equals my distance off course in nautical miles. All right, did that make sense for anybody? Or is your mind still totally blown? If your mind is blown and you're only a private pilot, that is more than okay. You've got something to look forward to come instrument train. Don't forget about us when you need a great instrument online ground school. All right, let's Hunter said, how many Jasons are you away from the station? See, it's so funny, I hated algebra class, but I geek out on aviation math. Like, if my high school algebra teacher would have made it more like a weight and balance question, I could have done it. Like, I can do a weight and balance. Don't give me, all these different, I can't even name math terms, so I'm not even gonna try here, right? All right, all good. Some of you math whizzes were like, that was too basic, Jason. Okay, that's fine. Let's talk to our next group of people. Next group of people, that was the written test people. Hopefully you're feeling better. Maybe you're more scared about the written test, I don't know, but hopefully you're feeling better about that. Who has a check ride in their near future? Not even their near future, sometime in 2023. Who is anticipating a check ride in 2023? Type in me in the chat. I want to know who that is and who this is for. We just did it today, actually. We do a mock check ride webinar every month with our online ground school members. Today was super fun. I meant to only go about an hour. I think we stayed for like an hour and 50 minutes. I get on tangents sometimes. The ground school members will tell you. It just happens. All right. Rachel, Alexander, Matthew H, Brad's got IFR, Joshua, Marcus, Claudia. We got some check rides coming up. John Franco, I'm gonna hold you to it, Mr. Franco. Awesome. David Jones. All right. Matt says hoping. Well, Matt, we're gonna make it happen. All right. We're in the business of making it happen. Okay, we've been doing these webinars, these mock check rides the past 10 years. Today was so much fun. Who was there today? I was literally crying at the beginning. One of our members asked last week what the definition of a vicinity is. And we take some time to answer all our members' questions live. And they asked, what's the definition of vicinity? You know when you see on a METAR, showers in the vicinity. thunderstorms in the vicinity. They said, well, what's a vicinity? So I went back and I found where it came from, and it came from, I can't even think of the name of the group now. It was like the Aeronautical, Meteorological, Observation, Weather Study Group. And I'm like, this sounds like my kind of group. And we were laughing about that. It was a good time. It was a good time. All right, so I gave this question on the mock check ride today. I'm gonna ask you the exact same question. So ground school members, you gotta zip it, all right? Because you just saw this question. Let's do it. What are the 3 factors of density altitude? Let me ask it a different way. What are the 3 factors that are going to increase my density altitude? What 3 factors contribute to high density altitude? Maybe said another way. Yes, Bradley, except you. You can still participate since you played hooky today. What are the 3 factors of density altitude? While you type that in, I'm going to get my whiteboard ready. My ground school members know what I'm about to do. I'm about to draw, which is, it's questionable sometimes. My Coach Ray would tell you my drawing abilities are somewhere between good and questionable, leaning towards the questionable. All right, let's see. Treasy, yeah. Rio, that's one of them. Josh Hahn, yeah, that's some of them. Hunter, I'd expect nothing but the best. Ben Riggs, good to see you, man. Jenna, yeah, that's a few of them here. Dad, my dad's answering the questions now. Not quite. I didn't get my aviation ability on that side of the family. David Cardozo, yes. Mike Maloney, sorry. Michelle, good. Bradley, how's that going to affect the Mooney? That's the real question. All right, Scott Alexander, good. Tom, I like that, the 3 H's. I might borrow that one. I might borrow that one. Okay, what are the 3 factors? Let's reveal our answer here. You all got this thing down pat. They are high temperatures, high humidity, high elevation. All contribute to an increase in density altitude, which means a decrease in performance. Let me break it down for you in plain English. You ready? I need a blue marker, I need a red marker, I need a black marker, and a purple marker. All right, so let's break it down here. Let's say I have a 1x1. Is everyone able to see that, Magda? A 1x1, 2 1x1, not to scale, cubes of air, all right? And this one is my hot, warm air. It's red for hot. My blue over here is my cold air. Okay, how does temperature affect density altitude? Well, you know, there's this guy, his name is Bernoulli, and he came up with a principle. And he said essentially that air, we take these same air molecules, they fly along, some go over the wing. The ones going over the wing have to travel faster than the ones that go beneath the wing. And because of this, it creates an area of low pressure, and we get sucked up and also pushed up from the bottom, and that's how we generate lift. Air molecules flowing over our wing. All right, that's what Mr. Bernoulli said. Now, we have our 2 cubes of air here. You see, in the same 1x1 cube where it's warm, the air molecules are much further apart. It's hot. They don't want to be close. They're going to get sweaty if they get too close together. Think of it that way. You don't want to be in a hot, crowded room touching a bunch of sweaty people, right? So they're all spread out. 1x1 cube, spread out because it's hot. It expands. We then go over to visit our friends Bill and Robin in Michigan in January. And it is very cold. So in the same 1x1 cube of air, well, we have this air molecules, but it's so cold that they need to cuddle and snuggle and all be together. The air is said to be more dense. When it's hot, the air molecules don't want to touch the other sweaty air molecules, so they spread out. When it's cold, everybody snuggles up together. So this particle, this 1x1 cube flowing over your wing, has a greater air density. This is why in the cold temperatures, have you ever felt your aircraft leap off the ground? Because, well, you get an increase in performance, you're just increasing, you're taking Mr. Bernoulli and his principle and making it exponential is essentially what's happening here. Remember, your propeller is also an airfoil as well. Your propeller loves this, your wing loves this, your tail loves this. Cold weather is better for performance compared to hot weather. Now, let's add to it. Let's say it's the summertime and we're in Florida now. Now in Florida, we also have humidity. I'm gonna use purple so I don't get confused with the blue. And remember, Mr. Bernoulli and his principle said air molecules flowing over. He didn't say anything about water molecules. So in this same 1x1 cube of air, well, now we got water molecules in here. And the water molecules, well, they start taking the place of some of these air molecules instead. So as if our air wasn't dense enough because it's already hot and spread out, you now add humidity to it as well. Water flowing over your wing as a water particle doesn't do you any good in the realm of aerodynamics now, does it? And that is how temperature and humidity affect performance. You see an increase in density altitude, high temps, high humidity, decrease in performance. Don't confuse high density altitude with high density. Don't mix those terms up. High density altitude, high temps, high humidity, poor performance. The other one is elevation, high altitude, high elevation. Go fly out of Leadville, Colorado. Go fly out of Sedona. Well, why do athletes, endurance athletes, go to Colorado to train for endurance events? Right? They go with the hopes of training in thinner air, as we say. Magda and I, along with my parents and the kids, just went on a ski trip. You get to the top of the mountain and I thought I was in shape, but the air is less dense. The air is thinner. So you could have cooler air, but you take it up to altitude and it begins to become thinner. Don't always say cold air is better, because you could give me cold air in Leadville, Colorado, and it'll be close together, but it's still thinner. Do you understand? So the most dangerous situation is like a Sedona, Arizona situation where I have high temps and high elevation. Or the trifecta is give me somewhere that also has humidity. High temperatures, high humidity, and then give me some elevation with it as well. You can get this out in like the Ozarks, that kind of area. Get a few little mountains, hills, whatever you want to call them. You can get this up in northern Georgia as well. It can be hot, humid, and have some high elevations. In the summertime, all of that can happen. So sharing the slide with you again. High temperatures, high humidity, high elevation. Hunter said you need an MzeroA museum of all my drawings in the gallery over the years. Some are better than others. That one, Dave G is going to turn it into an NFT, and we're going to auction it off on the blockchain network. So I don't totally understand it, but that's what he says he's going to do. I'm just teasing. All right. So if you, the reason I picked this is how you prep for a written test, a knowledge test, and how you prep for a check ride are two totally separate things, as you saw here. Right? There's no ABC to a check ride, where like there is with a written test where you get some process of elimination. You have to know how to explain it. And if you're studying to be a CFI or are a CFI, you need to explain it like that. A private pilot usually know high temps, high humidity, high elevation. That's what you need to know. Then, as you advance in instrument and commercial, and by the way, that question is going to follow you all the way along. Right? That's going to continue. That density altitude question is going to follow you all the way up to ATP or however far you take this thing. And every flight review probably thereafter. Very, very popular question. So, talking about the written test, talking about the check ride. Listen, I know you all know this, but MzeroA, and I hope you realize this just from the Safer Pilot Challenge. I hope you realize this from my teaching style and everything that we do. MzeroA is so much more than just 31 great videos in January and great YouTube videos and Facebook videos and funny Instagram posts throughout the year. You know, MzeroA is a living, breathing, thriving business, and it's because of our amazing online ground school. You know, inside of our online ground school, where are my alumni and members at, by the way? Who used the written test prep boot camp? 12 extra videos to push you across the finish line, 12 extra quizzes. By the way, I endorse you for all your written tests and everything else in there as well. Full private, instrument, commercial, fundamentals of instructing course as well. You become a member. It's a monthly membership fee. You get access to all the courses. You get access to the webinars in there, like I was just sharing with you. Mock check rides, just teaching weight and balance, weather, decision making, and we just get this live Q&A. It's a much smaller session. There's, how many people are on here now, Magda? I saw in the 600s, 700s earlier, combined with all of them, a much smaller group, kind of spending time together with that. The mock check rides, everything else. Now, I know you all know this, but if you are on a trial of the course, or if you have been on the fence about thinking about signing up for MzeroA as your online ground school provider, literally tomorrow, the prices of the membership go up $10 a month. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's going to add up, right? So I need you. We have not raised our prices in the past 10 years. 10 years ago, I had the same price I have today with just a private pilot course. We've continued to add and innovate. You got to see the pedostatic system simulator, the perceptual learning modules where we showed the different instrument scanning techniques and quizzed you on those and everything else as well. So if you are looking to sign up, I would highly, if you're on a trial, whatever it is, I would highly encourage you to sign up tonight and lock in your pricing. If you are a current member now hearing this, Bradley and Holly and my other members out there, your price is not going anywhere. You are locked in as long as you remain a member. So if you were a member and want to come back, well, do it tonight because sometime in the morning the team's going to slowly start changing those prices. Now, something else to share with you in addition to this, it's the year 2023, and we are making this the year of 2-3 Mike Zulu. Each month, we're going to be giving amazing things away, not only to you all, but in this case, the month of February coming up, we're going to be giving away to those online ground school members. If you are a paying online ground school member in the month of February, you are going to get an ebook copy of all my check ride books. That includes Pass Your Private Pilot Check Ride, Pass Your Instrument Pilot Check Ride, and Pass Your Commercial Pilot Check Ride. That is in an ebook format. If you want the paperbacks or if you want the audiobooks, you're welcome to them. You do need to purchase them. We'll be giving you a copy of those. So if you are a ground school member, give me a few days to get that uploaded and on there, and I'll send you out an email, remind you each webinar too. Any level, by the way, bronze, silver, or gold. The gold membership is where you actually get access to the webinars I'm talking about and everything else there. But you'll find those available to download as well. They're a PDF. Add them to the iPad. You can go buy the companion audiobook. It's just as an extra little resource for you there as well. So if you're a ground school member, be watching for that. It probably won't happen tomorrow because the team's going to be so inundated with the price change. Like on the 2nd or the 3rd, those will start trickling in there. I will send you an email, ground school members, when those are ready to access and download. We're going to take them down whatever the last day of February is, though. So do log in, download them, and have them so you have them there. If you are looking to sign up, you can head on over to just MzeroA.com and do that. And how you can actually do that real quick, I'll show you. You can go over on MzeroA.com, click on manned. Unmanned would be drones. Manned is aviation, or airplanes, we'll say. Scroll all the way on down. Bradley, your testimonial's on here somewhere, by the way. Scroll all the way on down. You can read all about it. You can see our 3 levels of membership there. See what's right for you, gold, silver, or bronze. Of course, I recommend the gold membership because I get to chat with you every single week live on the webinars as well. Click sign up. Add your information in on the checkout page there, lock in your price. You can see $147 a month. You can lock in there as well. And then you can click, type in your information and become a member with that. And then those books will be available in the coming days, really as a sign-on bonus as well. And even if you were a member in the past and want to hop in just for a month, right, just to grab a copy of those books so you have them in your library, you're certainly welcome to do that as well. So listen, it is just such a blessing to get to serve this amazing, amazing community. I hope you will take the leap, become an online ground school member by going to MzeroA.com, clicking that man button, or going to the store page if you're already convinced, don't need to see the whole sales page. You can go to the store page there as well and take action on that. With that, well, you're officially 31 for 31, so congratulations on that. I want to open it up now for questions. Any questions, any comments, and while you are typing those questions in, I want to answer and speak just to that individual we shared about earlier, looking to make the plunge into aviation as a career. There's a lot of negativity out there in the news, and Magda, if you'll grab questions for me, because I might talk here just for 2-3 minutes here. There's a lot of negativity out there in the news about, is aviation a great career, and oh, look what Southwest did, and oh, the FAA shut down the NOTAM system, and oh, this is all just negativity, and you know what it is all just noise. At the end of the day, it really amounts to nothing. This is the time to be bettering yourself, to be training, to be learning, to be growing. And I will be the first to tell you, I know people are talking about the R word, recession. And you want to know my professional opinion? I love the financial markets. I love business. Magda and I always joke, we don't play sports. Business is our sport. We have enough businesses for it to be a sport for us with everything that we do. There's probably a recession coming. There is no doubt. But just like those of you who live in winter climates, you can prepare for winter. Just like in Florida, we prepare for hurricane season. Winter is coming. A recession probably is coming, there's no doubt, but you can prepare for it. And when everyone else is hitting the panic button, you can be choosing to study, choosing to advance yourself, choosing to learn and grow. You're gonna find some of the best flight instructors because they're gonna be at the flight schools looking for students and hungry for students as well. Now is the time to be investing in yourself, because when we pull out of this thing, and we will pull out of this thing, right? The whole, not just the United States, the whole world will pull out of this craziness. You'll be waving your hand going, hey, I'm here. Look at my resume. While everyone else was freaking out and hiding under their bed, hiding under their pillow, sticking their head in the sand, I was sharpening my sword. By my sword, I mean my mind, my knowledge, everything, my craft. Choose to invest in yourself, in everything that you do in your current career, in aviation, in everything that you do. Now's an amazing time. All right, let's grab some questions here. Magda's going to share them here for me. Yori asks, how'd you come up with the name MzeroA? Well, to add to the story, MzeroA stands for Mach Zero Aviation. How the story came about, it was my dream to be a military aviator, specifically flying the F-15E. However, Magda, can you come over here for an example real quick? I need you. However, I am too tall to fly the F-15E. To give you some perspective, okay, Magda.
Real perspective?
Magda is 6 feet tall. So that makes me, I don't know, about 6'9".
Yeah,
How tall am I,
right.
Bradley? No, Magda's 5'5".
You want to see the real?
Yeah, let's see the real. Let's see the real. Let's show them really.
That's me.
Wow, she's little, right? She's only 5'5". I think I'm 6'4". I'm just teasing. I like bringing you on camera. I was too tall to fly the F-15E. They wouldn't be able to eject me out. So they don't measure just height. They care about your seated height. My torso was fine, my legs were too long. And they said, oh, we'll put you in something, something cargo related. I'm like, I don't want to do that. They said, well, I'm sorry, if you don't want to do that, you're gonna be flying around. I said, I want to fly at Mach 1. He said, no, I think you're gonna be flying at Mach 0 the rest of your life, kid. You're a little too tall to fly anything fun and fast. So, all right. Joshua recommends we do blood or fire t-shirts. I totally, yes. Will someone Photoshop that up for me? It'll be great. Bradley said you're like 5'2". Joking now. Is there a difference, Chris Ritchie wants to know, one of our amazing ground school members. Is there a difference between a military pilot and a civilian? Well, I didn't get to do the military route. I will let some of the military pilots in here speak instead to that question. Yes, there are some differences. I think, and I don't want to misspeak, so I'll let the military aviators pipe in here in the chat, and maybe Magda can share those. Actually, we've got it Sharon over here on this side. Like being an instructor in the military, there's not a perfect equivalency to move over to a CFI and everything else with that. So let's see. Ravi asks, am I too tall to fly a fighter? I'm also 6'4". I would go to whatever recruitment office is nearby you and ask them. That's a mistake I didn't do soon enough. I did ROTC and everything else. Hey, I want to do Hunter's question down below. It was a good question. Right there, yep. As a CFI, what do I do when a pilot fights you on the controls? I try to touch that unless I'm gently leading them. They ignore my first rule mention, or it's for safety. I overpower them. This is why CFI should also come with a gym membership. This is real talk, okay? This will be fun. This is like CFI to CFI talk. So 2 real stories. First off, you all know I'm big on vocabulary, and one of the things I teach is I ditch the word flare from my vocabulary. I teach that because I'll never forget I had a student who taught me the hard way what he thought a flare was. We came into land, I can't make this up. He pulled all the way back on the yoke, I'm talking into his gut, and we went up like this, and all I did was go full power, and it took my hand like this on the center of the yoke to overpower him because he was so committed to pull him back on that yoke. Yes, sometimes you have to overpower students if they lock up. Cannot make this up. I will, I'm trying to think how I can politely share this. I had a student in a stall recovery, very, very nervous about stalls, and that individual on the stall recovery, this is the one and only time I've ever had to do this. On the recovery, I said, lower the nose. They literally pushed down and they locked their elbows. Not making this up. We're in an attitude like this, and it was a power on stall, so it was just a brake, and we were already at full power, and they locked their elbows. And I said their name. I said their name a little bit louder. I now pulled the throttle back to idle. They literally froze, elbows locked like this. I can't believe I'm sharing this. This is so bad. I literally had to give them a little elbow, because if you're locked like this, I gave them like a little elbow in the ribs, and had to interrupt the pattern. They were literally, and they apologized profusely after, but from talking to them, they said they were literally like in a trance. They froze and just did not know what to do. All they saw was ground, and they didn't know how to fix it. And I politely said, well, locking the elbows in this position, it's not the way to fix it. So they got the little elbow under the ribs. That is the only time I've ever had to give a nice little bump to a student. That's the only time, I promise. That's the only time. So that happens. All right, Alex, what is the routine, best routine or method to memorize the checklist other than repetitiveness? You see, Alex, repetitiveness is rote memorization. I need you to know the why behind it. Here's a different way I want you to look at it. Alex, I want you to start at level 1. Level 1 is either have a picture of the airplane, or on a bad weather day, physically go sit in the airplane and do the muscle memory. Okay, engine failure in flight. I run through my ABCs, airspeed, best landing area, C is for checklist. I have a flow checklist in 2-3 Mike Zulu. I can do it because I've added muscle memory to it, not repetitiveness. I start on the floor. Fuel selector valves on both. I continue up, mixture confirm rich, over 2 knobs to my carburetor heat on, all the way across checking circuit breakers. Coming over to my ignition confirm on, 1 more over, primer, in and locked, nothing, okay, over to my transponder, 7700, and work through it that way. Take the same checklist, add a flow to it. Here's level 2 now, Alex. Level 2 is this, and CFIs and student pilots alike, listen to this one here. I want you to sit in that same airplane, Alex, and I want you to close your eyes. Can you find the master switch? Eyes closed. Can you find the throttle? Eyes closed. Can you differentiate between the throttle and the mixture? Can you find the fuel selector? Why do I have you doing this? Well, first off, if you've flown at night, you know how valuable that is. Secondly, let me give you a real scenario. You've got an electrical fire. The cabin is filling with smoke. You can't see anything. You need to find the master switch to stop the fire. Can you find it? That's what I mean. Can you find the avionics master? That's leveling up your checklist usage. Sit in the airplane and physically do it. If not, next time take a picture of your panel and go to Staples or whatever your office store is, make a poster of it. Or geez, just get it on your iPad or your phone and chair fly it and live it with that. Sit in the plane, eyes closed, and find things. People forget about that. And it's until you start to fly, who knows what I mean when I say that? Like when you start flying at night, it's hard to find things at night. It's just not as easy with all of that. So, all right, let's keep looking here. Let's see. Yeah, Joshua, you're right about that. Everything muscle memory here. Okay, Al asked, for soft field takeoffs, can I hit the brakes while taxiing since rudder doesn't do much for steep turns on the ground? Oh, you mean for a tight taxi turn on the ground. Okay, here's soft field taxi. Think about it in a real scenario on the grass. What's the name of the game with a soft field? Protect that nose wheel. Nose wheel is fragile, everything else could shimmy a little bit, catch it in a pothole, and what's gonna happen? You're gonna end up hitting the prop. That's the whole purpose of keeping the nose back if you hit a pothole. Now also what they're trying to avoid is you braking, because if you brake, you could nose forward into something. Just protect the nose wheel and you're not gonna hit the prop. It's that simple. Now, that being said, if you need to make a tight turn, as you said, you know, one of these kind of turns where you pivot on a wheel, that's fine. Keep the yoke back, only apply one. If you're doing it from a stop, it's super easy. It's that forward momentum and catching the brakes that's the problem. If you're at a dead stop from like run up or something and you want to pivot, hold one brake, give it some power and hold back on the yoke. That's fine. It's catching both brakes at the same time. That's also a problem with that one. Wow, let's look at this one from Jay STV. It says, you really saved my life. My instructor never taught me how to recover from an induced spin. Lucky me, I just seen your videos a day before. I was able to recover 900 feet AGL. Thank you. Wow. Wow. Thank you for watching the videos, for always learning, and for being here at now 10 o'clock at night. And again, this is what we do. This is the purpose of the online ground school. This is the purpose of everything. It is to save just one life. And perhaps that was done in that situation. So amazing, amazing story. Let's grab a few more questions, then it is way past my bedtime. Austin Timmerman, it's always good to see you. Your beard has improved since I last saw you, my friend. Good to see you there. Why two watches? I forgot both watches here today. Long, long story. If you go on the MzeroA FAQ, there's a whole video about the two watches. All right, let's find some other questions. Eric Pittman, I just now saw you. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Let's find some more. Looking here. Looking. Magda's scanning. Magda's going to scan. Someone asked, when did I start flying? Gosh, my first lesson was at 12 years old. My dad has a pest control company and swapped out pest control with a realtor in town who was also a flight instructor and took me up on my first lesson. So that was pretty cool with that one. Eric Pittman says to grow my beard out. I'm trying. I've been trying since No Shave November. Magda's saying, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. Last call. Questions, comments. Here to serve you all. Dawson asks, what's the best tip for a new IFR pilot? Dawson, if radio communications are a weakness of yours, I need you to improve on those greatly. You will fall behind the airplane. Where are my instrument pilots at? You know this. You will fall behind the airplane if your radio communications are not up to par. Make sure you're getting VFR flight following everywhere you go. VFR flight following is basically the same type of communications as IFR. There's more advanced stuff in IFR. If you are good at your radio communications, an area you can work on, this is going to sound funny, is your landings. You see, when you're working on your instrument, you get really good at going missed and going around and doing missed approaches. Your landings quickly erode. So take some time in between IFR lessons to go out, do some pattern work, and keep your landings up to snuff. I always find it so funny. We go from private, only look outside, Jason. Instrument, stop looking outside, look inside. Commercial, hey, look outside again. It's like landings go missed, inside, outside. It gets a little bit confusing with that. So, all right. Someone asked, VFR flight following from a Class D. If that Class D airport has radar services, you simply just ask. Naples can do that. Ocala cannot do that. For an example too though, Naples will only do it when they're not that busy. If the ground controller is super busy, he's gonna say, listen, you're gonna have to call them in the air. I don't have time for that right now. It's not their job, it's just an extra service that they can do. Kevin Williams asked, what's the best scan technique? Kevin Williams, go back, what day is it, somebody? What day is the one I talk about the instrument scans in this year's Safer Pilot Challenge? I talk about the wagon wheel, the T-scan, all the different scanning methods. Kevin Williams, it's truly the scan that works best for you. And inside the online ground school, you know we have those perceptual learning modules. You'll see it in that video, you know, kind of how we scan, and I'll show the instrument failures and everything else so we can work through that. It's in the Safer Pilot Challenge though, so you can see that. Yeah, some use the T-scan, some use I use kind of like a wagon wheel type method as well. Dan says 21 or 22. That sounds about right. That's in that range. Day 21, day 22. It's somewhere around there. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook as well. Ken Young, good to see you on here as well. I don't know why some come up Facebook user. It must be a privacy setting or something like that. Cody, that's awesome. So that's on my signature on the wall at Paragon. Say hi to Jeff and Chris for me when you're out there as well here. What skills and mindset make a good pilot? I really want to change careers from software engineering, my friend. What skills and mindset make a great pilot is someone who's able to pivot. Think about it this way. You plan a flight, let's say we're flying an airliner from Naples or from Florida to Hawaii. I guess we're taking the G5. Who wants to partner on a G5 with me? All right, just type in me so I know who to reach out to. Is that okay, Magda? She said, yeah. We're flying a G5 from Florida to Hawaii. We are off course 90% of the time, right? What do I mean by off course? Well, we're correcting. We're deviating for weather. The winds are blowing us this way. We're looking for smoother air. We're just kind of going back and forth on this course, but we know our outcome. We know where we're ultimately going, right? So we get to our destination. As a pilot, you have to be willing to pivot. You have to know when to say, no, thank you. I'm not going to make it to the destination. I'm diverting. You have to know when to tell ATC no. You have to be good at saying no. Unable is the most powerful word in aviation. If you choose to make it a career, like in the charter world, can you say no to the boss? Right? Can you say no to the boss? Though the boss needs to be at this meeting. Everyone's expecting them to be there, and you go, the weather's not good enough. The boss needs to rent a car. It could cost you your job. I'm going to end by sharing this, and I don't want to share too much because I know everything's not finalized just yet. Look at the Kobe Bryant crash. The weather was really, really bad. We all agree on that. Did you know that 135 charter company, they were on a VFR charter certificate? That helicopter was, in fact, IFR equipped. However, if that pilot would have called up and said, listen, I'm in a jam, I need to go IFR, he would have broken the 135 charter rules and definitely lost his job and maybe even had his certificate suspended. Not revoked, but suspended. If he did that. The helicopter was equipped for it. Their certificate, their 135 charter was for VFR charters only in that helicopter, but it was an IFR helicopter. He could have done that. Instead, he continued to scud run at 160 knots, and instead of losing his job, he lost his life, and so did many others. It's a somber note to talk about here, but you've got to know when to say no, or you've got to know when to step up and say, this isn't right, or you've got to know when to step up and go, this may cost me my job, but it's not going to cost me my life. I'm going to do this instead. That's what makes a great pilot, willing to say no. So very, very well said. Andre, we will be at Sun and Fun, Hangar D at Sun and Fun. We will be at Oshkosh, Hangar B at Oshkosh. Listen, it is well past my bedtime. I'm going to wrap it up here. I do go back and read every single comment though, so still leave those comments and make it a response. If not, we're going to do more live streams. And if you signed up to become an MzeroA Online Ground School Gold member, well, you're stuck with me every single week. Not only will you get the videos, but you'll see me every Tuesday afternoon as well for our weekly webinars and mock check rides, everything else. So I look forward to seeing you all again in the future. Congratulations. Congratulations on not only being 31 for 31, but making 2023 your best and certainly your safest flying year yet. Hey, go out there and be a light. We live in a crazy, dark world. You do something cool. You hurtle a piece of aluminum or carbon fiber through the air at 90 knots or more. You're pretty cool in my book. Go out there and share that coolness. Be a light with others, and just choose to see life more abundantly in everything you do. Have that blessed, abundant, outstanding rest of your night. And most importantly, remember that a good pilot is always learning. Have a great night, everybody. I'll see you.